Hi guys, it's Mila. Today I'm making a video about 10 things I wish I knew before getting into the adult industry, you know what I'm saying? So first off, let's just get into the basics that kind of most people hopefully know. Before you get into this job, you have to think about your future. Do you think that you're gonna possibly want a job in daycare or taking care of children? Being a teacher, doing porn might make it so you can't do that in the future. It might limit your job opportunities. You have to understand that and fully accept that before you get into it, or else you could end up being very unhappy in the future. And obviously, how people in your life are going to treat you. You have to think about the domino effect that could happen if it gets out that you do this job, because 9 times out of 10, it does end up getting out. It ends up getting out there, even if you're trying to keep it a secret, okay? If you rely on certain family members and you think that there's a good possibility that if they find out about this, they'll disown you and it'll cause a lot of issues in your life, maybe don't do this job, or at least hold off on doing it until you don't rely on these people. Just basically make sure that, if you're comfortable with possibly losing people in your life or being very, offended and hurt by how people treat you once you get this job. It sucks, but it's just, a fact. It happens a lot. It happens all the time to people, and you just have to really think about it and be realistic with yourself. And again, another basic thing, but I just really want to stress this. So many girls that I know want to get into this job, and they're like, oh, I'm just going to keep it a secret. I just won't use my real name, and I won't tell anybody so nobody will find out. Do not go into this job if you're banking on it being a secret and staying a secret, because all it takes is one person you went to high school with going up on a porn site looking up big booty babe, and then you pop up, they take a screenshot and send it to everybody else you went to school with or something. That's actually exactly what happened to me. I remember my literal first night, 18 years old, camming on Chatterbait. I made it on the front page of Chatterbait. It's a big site. A lot of people use it. And that exact thing happened to me. Somebody I went to high school with took a picture of me on the front page and then sent it to a bunch of people, and a bunch of people sent it to other people being like, oh, Mila from high school, she's a porn star now. Everybody was calling me a porn star. I'm like, dude, I just turned on my webcam and logged into Chatterbait. I am not the next Riley Reid. But the takeaway from that is, don't bank on keeping it a secret. If it's really risky for people to find out about this job and you think it'll be easy to keep it a secret, don't rely on that too much is all I'm saying. Go into it with the idea of, yes, I'm going to try to keep it a secret, but everybody is probably going to find out. Another kind of basic disclaimer, this job is not quite as easy as a lot of people try to make it seem. It's not really some get-rich-quick scheme. Sure, maybe if you go viral on the internet and you become the next Belle Delphine, yeah, maybe you will get rich quick. But the chances of that are very slim. You have to manage your expectations if you're just starting off in this industry and you don't have a following. Just keep in mind that at this point, the adult industry, OnlyFans, all of that is very oversaturated. The more people that make these accounts, the harder it is for you to stand out and make a living off of it. So before you decide to post naked photos or videos of yourself online, you might want to think ooh, these pictures are going to be up here forever, and I might only make a very small amount of money from this. Really think about it, because the internet is forever. The stuff, once it gets posted, even if you keep it behind a paywall, someone's going to screenshot it and post it for free, and it's just going to keep getting reshared. So, be realistic. I know I feel like I keep saying the same thing and I'm giving the most basic advice, but the reason is this is, the most important advice, I think, is, the stuff that you think about before you actually, pull the trigger and get into this industry. Even if it's behind a paywall, your content is going to get stolen and reposted. Even if you pay for a DMCA takedown service, which basically takes down your stolen content off of websites, it's just going to keep popping up and getting reshared. And once it gets saved onto someone's hard drive, like, it's not going anywhere, baby. You can't delete it off of every person's hard drive, you know? Okay, so moving forward into things that are more specific towards my experience and what I, like, specifically wish I did. Because I did think about all of this stuff before I got into this line of work. And I went the route of trying to keep it a secret and it miserably failing and a bunch of people finding out as soon as I did it. But I was fine with that. I already had thought about that as a possibility and it wasn't the end of the world for me personally. But something I wish I specifically, like, thought more about before getting into this was, like, once you post stuff online, you have to be okay with anybody and everybody watching it. Because the reality of it is, like, your content is out there for anyone who wants it. You can't really stop somebody, for example, somebody you don't like from high school, from, like, buying your content, whether they want to jerk off to you or they just want to, like, bully you, and I don't know, whatever weird reason someone you don't like might be buying your content, or, like, an ex-boyfriend buying your content. Like, you guys broke up and you want nothing to do with him, but he can still go online and pay for your OnlyFans, and even if you block him, he can just, like, make a sock puppet account and keep enjoying your content. You have to think about that and really be like, am I gonna be okay with that? Like, it was just something that kind of blindsided me when I first started this job, and somebody who I hated from high school was watching my content and, like, messaging me and letting me know that he was watching it. It just blindsided me, it grossed me out, and I was like, damn, that really sucks, and, like, all my ex-boyfriends could watch my stuff if they wanted. It just kind of skeeved me out when I first had that realization. But I've personally, like, made peace with it and it's fine. So something that I wish I, like, fully understood and accepted when I got into this job was, like, there's no right way to do it, if that makes sense. Like, I was constantly trying to follow other girls, like the most popular girls at the time, and trying to see if I could mimic exactly what they were doing and, like, the content they were making. And then, like, oh, if I copy what this super popular girl's doing, I'll be super popular too, right? And that's not really how it works. I mean, I guess that could work, but I found that, like, with this job, you just have to feel it out on your own, if that makes sense. Like, I've also gone through the phase of, like, buying other girls, like, 10 OnlyFans tips or 10 tips to get a lot of subscribers or whatever type of guide that sex workers try to sell. I've done that and it was really just a waste of money, and they gave, like, really basic generic advice. For some reason they put it behind a paywall. I mean, whatever, to each their own. But pretty much just because one girl posts on Instagram every day and never uses Reddit doesn't mean, like, you have to do that too. You just have to figure out what works for you. Maybe you love Reddit as a platform and that becomes, like, the best way for you to market yourself. Maybe Twitter is your favorite site and that's what you mainly want to focus on. Maybe you don't even want to have an OnlyFans, you just want to post on Fansly or something like that. Like, you really just have to feel it out and try different things until you figure out what works for you and what you can be, like, consistent with. And you have to start making content that's, like, specific for you. Like, you have to find your niche. For me, like, I have a big butt. That's what most of my videos started out as when I was making them. Like, that's how I got people interested in me, was like, I'm the big booty girl. I make twerking videos. So you have to find your niches and what you like making content for. You know, a lot of people know I also got into doing the fart videos, so that's one of my niches. Pretty much anything involving my booty people love, so just because that's my thing doesn't necessarily mean it's your thing. You just have to find what type of content works for, like, your body type and also, like, your personality and what content you want to make in general. There's no, like, one-size-fits-all guide to being, like, a popular adult entertainer. You kind of just have to feel it out and if you're consistent and you find your niche, you're gonna build your own audience. So there's no need to try to be a carbon copy of somebody else, is what I'm trying to say. Something else that I wish I knew when I first got started is, like, you don't have to force yourself to do anything you're not comfortable with. Like, in general, like, don't do this job if you're not comfortable being sexual on camera, obviously. But, like, there's so many different types of videos you can make in the adult industry. Just a specific example for me is, like, I saw a lot of people in the community doing a bunch of collabs and, like, going to LA and working with so many different people. Just collab. So I was kind of trying to gear up to start doing a bunch of collabs with people and always working with people. And I just realized that it wasn't for me. Like, I like to collab with people who I have at least some sort of, like, friendship with, like, creators that I have stuff in common with, and that I genuinely feel like I have a friendship with, versus just a random person in my DM saying, hey, want to collab in New York next month? And just, like, not really trying to be friendly at all, just strictly all business, which I understand that it is business, but I personally just am not comfortable meeting up with a bunch of people and trying to bang out a bunch of collabs and not having, like, any real friendship or type of relationship with them. Like, just strictly getting down to business on camera and then saying, okay, peace out. It's just not for me. I'm, like, more of an introverted person, and I don't know if I'm gonna do naughty stuff on camera, even though it's on camera and it's all, you know, even though we're just, like, making videos on camera, I still want there to be some sort of connection there. And I was trying to force myself to, like, get out there and collab more, and I just realized this isn't for me. Like, I don't like it. I would rather do fewer collabs with people who I actually connect with than force myself to be uncomfortable. And honestly, I don't even have to collab at all. Like, if you're not interested in doing, like, boy-girl content or girl-girl, whatever, you can be totally fine doing this type of work and just making solo videos. Like, there should be no pressure to do anything you don't want to. And same thing, like, if you don't feel comfortable making spit fetish videos or dominatrix videos, like, you don't have to force yourself to do anything. It's better for you, and it's better for your fan base if you do content that you're more comfortable with, because a lot of times it shows on camera that you're more into it, if that makes sense. I mean, maybe you're a really good actress, but it's just not as fun if you don't want to be doing the content in the first place. So, yeah, just stick to your guns and figure out what you like doing and what you have fun doing on camera. Something else you need to think about is when you're in the adult industry and you're basically working for yourself, you're your own boss, which is great, but that means you also don't get paid time off. So if you happen to get sick or be going through a hard time and need some mental health days, you do not get paid for them. So think about that. So personally, what I like to do to combat that is always try to stay ahead of schedule. Like, I like to have 2 weeks of content queued up on my OnlyFans and, like, 2 weeks worth of videos to post to ManyVids. I like to have, like, a little bit of a cushion if I ever do need to take some time off. So that's important to keep in mind. It can be stressful if you don't plan for you to get sick and then you make less money that month because you weren't able to work as much. Okay, really big thing. I think this is honestly one of the number one things that I wish I put more thought into when I started. Do not completely rely on, like, a safe for work social media app to bring in your income. So for example, like, if you mainly use Instagram and TikTok to promote your OnlyFans, do not just do those things. Even if they're working for you in the moment and they're helping you make a lot of money, it's not a good idea to mainly rely on those things, because with the safe for work apps, they like to, you know, be a little ban happy when it comes to having a not safe for work link in your bio, even if you have a link tree that then leads to it. Like, it's just really easy to get banned on these safe for work apps when you're a hot girl with an OnlyFans, it seems like. I got very blindsided probably a year ago. My Instagram, my TikTok, my Twitter, and my Reddit all got banned around the same time. And those were, like, the only things I used to promote myself. So it, like, took a really big hit to my income. And it was so stressful. So I would definitely use all of the safe for work apps to your advantage if you can. But don't just rely on those things, because you can very easily get banned just because a bunch of incels decided to mass report your account. And Instagram will just be like, yeah, okay, bye. So I just think it's important to focus on websites like maybe Pornhub, where like you still could get deleted from them, but only if you're really breaking the rules. I would just try to also put an emphasis on the not safe for work communities where you're actually wanted versus Instagram and TikTok where they just love having an excuse to ban you. I kind of already said this before, but like, just keep in mind that this typically for most people, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. There is very real money in the adult industry, but if you want to make some of that very real money, you need to make sure that you're consistent and that you don't give up, basically. Like, if you have no following, it's going to take time and consistency for you to build up an audience and actually make a substantial living. So, as long as you're posting daily, I mean, it doesn't even necessarily have to be daily, maybe a few times a week in the beginning. But consistency is key. I know it's like, everybody says that, but it's because it's true. Being consistent, trying to post as daily as you can, and if you keep up with it, eventually it will pay off for you. And just to end the video, I have some more kind of basic tips that a lot of people already talk about, but I'm just going to add them into the end of the video. I don't know, just in case you've never watched the OnlyFans tips video. I don't know. But I would also make sure to focus a lot on your safety before you get into this industry. Like, make sure if you're going to be posting videos and pictures to promote your OF or to post on your OF, that you're not posting, like, right in front of your window. Like, let's say you take a selfie and in the background is a window that shows the view of the street you live on. Be super conscious not to do stuff like that to accidentally dox yourself. Don't pose with pictures next to your house. Don't pose with your car and have your license plate in the background. If you're live streaming, make sure you don't have any important paperwork in the background or like your ID laying around. I have literally almost done all of these things. Like, I have been live streaming and had my government ID like just slightly off camera and been like, oh crap, if I move the camera, everyone's gonna know my name and where I live. So again, it's basic, but just keep in mind that that's a really important part of this job. You have to try to stay safe. And with that being said, I would be careful about who you tell that you have this job, if that makes sense. Like, for example, if you're in an Uber by yourself and the Uber driver's asking you what you do for work, I would just lie and say that you are a dental hygienist. I don't know. I feel very uncomfortable most of the time, especially if I'm by myself. My dentist, for some reason, like my dentist and my orthodontist are also always asking about what I do for work. And I don't feel as like creeped out by them versus an Uber driver who I'm alone with. But I still don't tell them what I do. I'm just like, I do social media. I post on Instagram. And they're just like, oh, what's your account? I'm like, I don't like telling people. If you find it, you find it, but I'm not telling you. But I would be careful in certain situations. Like if you're alone at a bar, maybe don't tell them you do OnlyFans, because some people just get the wrong impression and think, oh, they do OnlyFans, that means they're definitely going to suck my dick in the alleyway right now. Again, personal experience. Somebody at a bar literally was just like, oh, you do OnlyFans? Let's go in the alleyway. And I was like, sir, I'm going to ask that you step away from me. And no, I will not take that drink that's in your hand, you fucking weirdo. I don't know if this video was helpful. I hope that I gave you guys some good information. I just wanted to post like some tips on here for free. Just things that I wish I knew when I first started. Maybe I can try to make a more concise video in the future. I don't know. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below. And make sure you subscribe to see more videos in the future. Bye, guys.